understanding that you or your family member or loved one has a problem with addiction can be a difficult thing to face. And what really needs to happen is access to treatment and gaining help and support for the addiction. However, there are several obstacles that tend to come in the way for people when needing to access this support. And so we've outlined 7 key obstacles that we see that tend to come up when people are looking to access treatment. The first of these is denial. Addiction doesn't happen overnight and often takes time to progress, which can lead people to really questioning whether there is a problem or not. One of the first things that needs to happen and one of the first obstacles that needs to be overcome is the actual admission that there is a problem, that there is an addiction present. Secondly, fear. Obviously facing an addiction and all that comes with it is a frightening prospect. Equally, once the admission has happened that there is a problem, it might be fear of what people might think, fear of judgment, fear of losing family, fear of losing jobs, and fear really of the stigma that is attached to addiction. And so this is something that does need to be overcome in order to access the support that's needed. Thirdly, lack of support. Facing an addiction is a huge task and needs support networks around it. The 12-step fellowship is hugely involved in this, but equally prior to treatment people need to feel like they're supported in their decision in what they're going to be doing. Family, friends, even religious members or priests, stuff like that, somewhere where you can talk about what's going on and feel supported and guided. Privacy concerns are also a huge problem, especially for somebody who is functioning in their addiction, attending work, keeping up appearances. And so we often find that a big barrier to actually accessing treatment is fear of being exposed as being an addict, fear of people knowing of what's been happening. Obviously, life interruption is a huge issue. Life doesn't stop because addiction is happening, and lots of people will have childcare issues, work commitments, mortgage payments to keep up. And so whilst you might work through all the other barriers, then pretty much everybody is faced with, well, what's a month out of my life going to look like? What will happen in 2 months if I'm away? It's really important for you to be able to look at the destruction that happens in addiction and a small interruption in your life in terms of a month or 2 off is actually going to benefit much more than carrying on in an addiction. Triggers are a huge barrier to accessing treatment. Triggers exist everywhere. People, places, situations, things. If you're in an enabling relationship or with other people that use those triggers of missing the euphoria or missing out on particular parties or missing out on certain aspects of your life can really draw someone right back into that denial stage and those barriers that come up with denial. So if you are thinking of accessing treatment or addressing your addiction, really avoiding those triggers or trying to minimize them in your life is going to help you to be able to overcome those barriers to access treatment. And finally, it's worth noting that affordability is a big problem and a barrier for lots of people. Treatment isn't cheap. It's well known that drug and alcohol treatment can be quite expensive, but there are affordable options and it's worth investigating these. Overseas treatment centres are often reduced in cost because the cost of accommodation and other labour costs are much cheaper than they are, say, in the West. And I always think that it's about really looking at what's more important, the monetary value of something or your life. So those are the barriers that we see most often in accessing treatment.